Okay, for my next project, I'm going to be making something out of this piece of a root that came off of came out of the ground from underneath the Bradford pear that I used on my last project when I was turning my bowl. I was doing some landscaping in the front, but this is one of the surface roots from the Bradford pear. You can see right here there's some rock has gotten embedded when it was growing. It's covered with sand because that's the way our yard is. It's mostly, there's a lot of sand after you get down about 2 inches from the topsoil, but you can see where I cut it off with an axe. It's about maybe 8 inches across. I'm going to take it over to the bandsaw and cut it up into some usable pieces, and I think I'll make some bottle stoppers or Christmas ornaments or something out of it. But we will come back and get started. Alright, I've gotten it all sewn up, cut it into 4 pieces, cut the rough ends off of it, and then sliced it into quarters as best I could. There is some interesting grain pattern on this. You can see how that goes like that. I imagine that the roots have growth rings just like a tree does. This is the part here that had the rock embedded in it. Right there you can see that. And you can see some of the rings there. But I'm going to take a piece of this, mount it to the lathe, and come back and we'll get started on our little project. I don't know how it's going to come out, but because I've never done anything with root wood before. But we'll come back. Okay, I've got this piece mounted. First thing I'm going to do is round over just a little bit with the rough and gouge, and then turn a tenon on this end, flip it end for end, and mount the tenon into the one-way jaw. Let's see how this goes. Looks like it's working like a regular piece of wood. A lot of dust or sand, so maybe there was not a whole lot of that included in the root as it was growing. Seems like it's a piece of the bark. That's why you always wear your face shield. When things start to fly off like that, it doesn't injure you. Seems like it's turning very nicely. It did knock a piece of it out here, but I'll go ahead and finish rounding this up, flatten it off, and switch it in for end and remount it into one way. Okay, I've got it rounded over now. This is turning out to be a very interesting piece of wood. These little dots that you can see here, I imagine, are from the root hairs that grow out of every root to help hold it and absorb nutrients and moisture. But this is just absolutely, I've never quite seen any wood like this before. Looks like a knot there. Okay, so I've got this end flattened. I'm going to drill a hole through here first, and then I'll start making the rest of the bottle stopper top. The hole will be to mount the hardware of the bottle stopper. I'm excited. Ready to start the drilling of the hole here. What I'm going to be using is a from Penn State Industries. That's not an advertisement for them, it's just where I bought them, but it's a black titanium plated stopper with a silicone, the metal is black titanium plated. This is silicone that actually stops in the bottle. But you have to drill out a hole so that you can insert this threaded part in here. And then that's what holds it all together. So we'll go ahead and start that. Don't want to go too fast with it, so. I'm going to drill about a ½ inch hole maybe. Came out very clean. I'm going to mount the live tailstock back on and continue. Alright, I've got the outer diameter marked here for the bottom of the stopper, the wide part of the stopper, or actually the top part of the metal of the stopper. I've taken my parting tool and cut a groove in here to help me measure the length of it. It's just going to be a matter now of cutting it down to size to the diameter there, and then maybe putting some little coves and beads or whatever you want to do. It's since it's a one-of-a-kind project, just have some fun. And speed it up a little. I'm going to be using my round nose scraper. It seems to work very nicely on this wood. Okay, I'll set the diameter to the bottom. I'll go ahead and turn this, and when I get ready to finish it or sand it, I will let you see how we do that. Okay, I pretty much got the final shape. I left this part right here larger, so it makes it easier to get the stopper out of the bottle. What I'm going to do is part it off right. I'm going to go ahead and sand as much as I can here. Part it off right here, and then this is going to be a jam chuck. I'll flip it over, stick this back on so I can finish up the end of it. So we'll go ahead and get it sanded up and part it off, remount it, and then we'll come back. I did have one small split that I noticed right here. I filled it in with CA glue. I've gone up through all the grits. One thing I always like to do is finish it off, or before I put the finish on, is run over it with steel wool. Don't want to put too much pressure on it, just enough to hold the steel wool to it. This is 4/0, but it polishes it up very nicely and then helps give for a super slick finish. So we'll go ahead and do the Mylan's friction polish again, is what I use. I'll go ahead and get the finish on it, part it off, flip it around on this jam chuck that I hope I can make fit, and finish the end of it. This wood worked so easily. I was able to start out with 220 grit sandpaper, and that's on my projects anyway. It's pretty much unheard of, but I've got it flipped around on the jam chuck. I'm going to do a little bit of light sanding on the end of it here. Put the finish on it, then I'll put it together and show you the finished project. All right, there is the final assembled project. This looks like a crack right here, but it's not. It's just the way some of the dark wood is gotten in there. The little crack that was over here, see if I can find it. Right there. The CA glue healed it right up. But the grain of this wood is very nice. I would have never thought that that would be what was inside a root. I'll have to do some more. This has been a fun project for a rainy afternoon here in Surfside Beach, South Carolina. We will be back again. Thanks so much for watching, and if you haven't done so, please subscribe to my channel. Thanks again. See you soon.